I feel like we should lay some like groundwork though, for this episode because I've got my little note card right here of like notes
Mhm.
that I took earlier. And then I did ask AI too, and we'll go over some of their responses. And I wrote down all my answer before I looked it up. Um, I'm not saying this is 100% right way to do it. I've introduced quite a few dogs quite that really were interested in the cats that they did not like to quite a few dogs
Mhm.
over the years. Seems to work for me. I'm sure there are other trainers who do it other ways and do it better, whatever. But this is how I've done it, and it's worked pretty well for me. But I feel like we should start with like the levels of like how interested the dog is in the cat because there's like um I've kind of wrote it down in like kind of three categories here. I would say we've got dogs that are interested in the cat. So they want to say, hey, they might want to play, they might want to sniff the cat. Maybe the cat doesn't like that as much, but they're just overall just interested in the cat.
Mhm.
Then you've got the dogs who have like a prey drive and want to chase the cat, but there's no harm that the dog really wants to do to the cat. They just like chasing the cat. They
Yeah.
might want to play with it, just generally just want to chase it. And then the third category is like wants to eat and kill the cat. Um, Super high prey drive wants to eat and kill a cat. This episode, I would say, is for the first two categories of dog. If you have a dog that wants to like kill the cat, I'd say call a better trainer than me because that's not really something I'd say I'd like be super comfortable like trying to fix for somebody. Like if somebody hired me and they were like, hey, a dog wants to eat the cat. I want you to fix that. I'd be like, I'm not the guy. So
Mhm.
I'm just putting that out there. I think this is for dogs that are interested in the cat and maybe want to chase the cat, maybe plays a little too rough with the cat or something like that. Um, yeah, that would be this. Um, I will say, I before we start this, the other day I met with a family and they had a puppy and a cat that were the same age. They were both like 6 months old, and watching these two romp around was hilarious. Like
Oh,
the
that's
dog chased the cat and
cute.
tackle the cat, and then the dog would be like laying down, and then the cat would like pounce on the dog and like wrap its claws around its neck. It was really fun to watch. It was very
I
entertaining.
like that.
It was really fun. And it was, yeah, just like a classic tabby cat and a little like mixed breed dog. It was very cute, very, very
That
cute,
is
very fun.
cute.
So, um, anyways, yeah, so this would be though for the first two, like dogs that are interested and dogs that want to kind of chase the cat and stuff like that. So, um, a lot, I imagine that if you want to introduce your dog to your cat, you've probably looked up some stuff. I would assume that your cat is probably scared of the dog to some degree and that your dog is either interested or wants to chase the cat or
Mhm.
has done those things in the past. And so this would be generally kind of help that. So, um, I think my first piece of advice would be just start slow. And by that, I mean, like, we want to, I would say, first and foremost, I think the cat needs to have like a safe zone. So if like you've got a
Mhm.
2-story house, maybe putting a gate up at the bottom of the stairs so that the cat can jump and like get over
Yeah.
so the cat can get upstairs or something like that. And yeah, so just generally speaking, have like a safe zone for the cat where the cat can like escape and kind of be peaceful.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. So I'd say that would probably be first
Yeah.
and foremost, have like a safe zone
That
for the
seems
cat.
sensible.
If it's downstairs, maybe have it, and you've got a smaller dog, maybe have a cat tower that the cat can get on, something like that. Just you want to have a spot for the cat to go and be safe and know, hey, I'm cool here. The dog can't get me here, basically.
Mhm.
Because we definitely don't want like the cat to be scared in its own home. Ideally. So I would say have a safe zone for the cats.
Yeah.
Um, Now in terms of starting slow, like let's just say, one thing I'd probably do is like swap sniffs basically. So I would like give the cat something to sniff of the dogs and vice versa. So that way they can start by sniffing each other. I'd maybe let them see each other through something. So like through a gate or through a fence or a crate or something like that. Um, Another funny, like, cat thing, we just signed up a little, like, 12-week-old, like, Silky Terrier a couple
Mhm.
weeks ago,
Yep.
and they had a Silky Terrier that had passed away, and the cat, outlived the Silky Terrier, and so they brought this new one home, and so they've got this real tiny little crate, and I saw it while I was there. The cat's, like, 14 years old, very elderly cat,
Oh,
but still moving around pretty good
yeah. Yeah.
for a cat. Anyways, the cat would literally just sit in front of the crate and just stare at the dog, and every now and then just hiss at the dog. And I'm like, "You're probably not winning any friends." And then the dog wants to meet the cat real bad, and the cat does not wanna meet the dog. So, I
Mhm.
imagine we'll be doing some training there, but, let them see each other, so maybe put the dog in a crate, let the cat out, cat can see the dog. I don't know about putting the cat in the crate and letting the dog see it. But, anyways, let them kind
Mhm.
of see each other through something. I'll let you guys kind of figure that out. But that would generally be my kind of start slow advice would be like start with letting them sniff each other's stuff, give the cat a safe zone, let them kind of see each other and stuff like that. Um, Overall, I would say another kind of like foundational principle here too is, us being balanced trainers, reward good behavior, correct bad behavior. So reward when like the dog, well, we'll get into it. Um, but yeah, we want to reward when the dog's like being good and correct them when they're being bad, like too excited, overstimulated, stuff like that.
Mhm.
How I've always done this is I've started with a really strong play before I do any introductions. I start with a really strong place command and a really strong leave it command. So that way
Mhm.
I could send the dog to a place, have the cat out around, socialize the dog to the cat, and vice versa, and the dog's in their place. And then also teach a really strong leave it command for if the dog does try to chase the cat or get too, overstimulated, something like that. I can tell the dog leave it and get the dog to not mess with the cat. Um, yeah, so I would say those are the two kind of foundational things I start with overall.
Mhm.
I guess I won't get too far into like how to actually do both of those. Those would be like training topics and stuff like that. But I would say either DIY that or hire a trainer to help you out with that.
Yeah.
And if you're in Memphis or Austin, call Wonder Dog. Okay, shameless plug over. But yeah, start with a good place and stay and leave it. Um, yeah, and then I would say my first step would be have the dog stay around the cat. So I'd pull a bed out, pull a place cot out, put the dog on the couch, wherever their place is, and then have the
Mhm.
dog stay. And I'd get the cat out and I'd have the dog on a leash. I'd have the dog staying where they're told, and I'd let the cat come out and I'd let the cat walk around and I'd just make the dog stay and just get the dog used to just being calm around the cat. Like, hey, the cat can be around. I don't have to chase the cat, don't have to be
Mhm.
barking, you know, whining, things like that. I can just be still and be around the cat and everything's fine. So that's probably how I'd start, and just start like slowly kind of like desensitizing the dog to the cat, basically. That'd be kind of like first step.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Um, I definitely think a leash is very helpful. In this case, just so that way you have control of the dogs. That way, if they break their place, you don't have to worry about, the dog chasing the cat or
Mhm.
something and then kind of resetting the starting where we're starting at or whatnot. Cause I think if the the cat has bad experiences with the dog, it'll kind of reinforce that. Um, but if it does happen, we do want to once again give the cat a safe space to go to.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. So, anyways, that'd be where I'd start. You can start with the tether on the wall, or like tether dog to the place. So, like put the leash under like the base of a table or a couch, or put a hook on the wall or something like that to like tether the dog to the wall. So that way they have to stay where they're told. Instead of just holding them on a leash, you could do something like that too. But that's probably where I'd start.
Mhm.
Is all this making sense so far?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Um, Anyways, I would definitely use a trainer for this, this part. But if you're a DIYer, I guess you could DIY it too. But I would start then during that process, I would start either using like a leash and a collar or a remote collar or something like that to start correcting like the bad behaviors that are associated with it. So like whining, barking, trying to break the place, being too intently focused, things like that. And I'd start working on teaching the dog to like break their focus away from it. And anytime they did, I would also pay the dog and reward the dog with
Mhm.
food, praise, things, toys, things like that. Um, yeah, and that's kind of where I would start. That's kind of where I would start with that is like, um, yeah, just correcting, like I said, the bad behaviors and rewarding the good behaviors. Um, yeah, that's kind of it. And then I would start letting them. I guess the next step would be interact, and like kind of both be out and be supervised. After you've kind of desensitized the dog to the cat or whatnot, it could be on a leash where you're like walking the dog near the cat or whatever it is, or off leash if you're using a remote collar or something like that. And I start like kind of letting them interact. I'd, supervise it, of course, because we want to make sure that we're, all the animals are well taken care of. But then I'd start letting them interact under supervision and stuff like that. And once again, rewarding good behavior, correcting bad behavior. But I've done this pretty successfully with like a handful of like dogs and cats over the years.